Yeah.
No, no, I was up front and
No, I mean, if you can't sing, you don't play, you don't play an instrument, you know, you gotta figure out what else will work for you.
Crazy Larry and his musical time machine.
So how long have you been a realtor? Is that what you're promoting now?
Oh no, I've been a
Real
realtor
estate.
for 15 years. My wife's been one for 25.
Is that what you mainly do?
Yeah, that's yeah, a lot of the acting and stuff that I do is no pay. I just get SAG credits for. It's a lot of the
Oh, yeah.
local
Yeah, I used to work
filmmakers.
for AFTRA.
Okay, yeah.
I worked there for many years.
Well, hi, this is Leslie Smith. We're with Genuine Networking, and of course, this is the Monday after Easter. In the Virgin Islands, it would be Easter Monday, which is a holiday. So why are we here, right? But we're not on the beach, so we're here in at Paradise Valley, and we have Joanne Lang here, and we're going to talk about her book. And as being a personal assistant and talking about communications and clients, we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Great, thank you. Shall I just start in
You
now?
go ahead and start it. I
Okay.
mean, it's a small group. We normally go through, which you wouldn't need to have that information about doing one-on-ones and networking, but since we have a small group today, you can go ahead and start in.
Okay, great. I didn't know that it's going to start so quick. All right, great.
It's okay.
Well, this is my deal. I started my company in '04. I called it the Personal Marketing Assistant. I thought, well, I just put up my sign and people are going to flock and I'm going to be a huge success. I had no idea. There was a lot of marketing involved. And but what I did is my clients were like the best in their companies. They were the best in their industry. And I watched them and I watched to see what made these people different from someone else who is not succeeding, and what are they doing differently? So I watched for those first 2 or 3 years, and I learned, and I also follow some very important people in this area: Rick Cooper, Eric Lofholm, Katarina Salwa, all great people. So I've, I mimic. A lot of this is not my own idea, although I gravitated towards permission marketing, relationship marketing. Because let's face it, people work with who they know, like, and trust. And sometimes it takes a long time, and the follow-up makes you stay top of mind. When someone calls you for a referral, who are you going to go to? I go to my e-newsletters that I'm getting. I go to my social media, and those are the people getting the referrals.
So it goes back to out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. So the topics I'm going to cover are your commercial, your unique value. You don't want to say I'm a business coach, I'm a dentist, because it doesn't really tell people what you actually do. So you should have a tagline, you should have a 30-second commercial and a 60-second commercial in your head already. So when you meet someone, you can explain it to them. And and when I talk about networking, this can be in the grocery store, it could be at a networking event. Having those things in your mind already is very, very important. The power of the follow-up and how to stay top of mind, easy ways to stay connected, because it takes about 10 to 14 touches for someone to use your business or service. And let's face it, do we have that amount of time to spare? And the answer is generally no. So there's some easy ways to do that. I'm a co-author in An Incredible Business. And it's a wonderful digest. About 20 authors give you the best of what they have. And I really like Chapter 4, Marge Pacini.
Is that the book that you brought with you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's one of each there. And the reason I gravitated towards Chapter 4, it said, do you want to prospect less and profit more? And of course.
Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't want to do that? So I really liked her Chapter 4 in An Incredible Business. And she talks about a unique value. I'm going to refer to my notes because I don't want to get anything incorrect here. You want to know what sets you apart from your competition. We were talking about your picture and how that brought in more business because they could see personally what you were doing. And a lot of people incorporate their personal life in with their business life because it does give them a little more uniqueness. What sets you apart from your competition? And your unique value, usually people around you know your unique value before you do. It's sometimes hard to find. It's not your product or service, it's what people get from you after they interact with you. And you want to use it in all your conversations, your bios, and so forth. So the formula that Marge talked about in Incredible Business was first identify with those you work. Who is your perfect client? State their major challenge and state what you help them to do and be concise and state the end result. So this is what Marge's phrase is. I work with sales professionals and business owners who are struggling with overwhelm and unsteady income, and I help them increase their influence and position themselves as the most valuable partner for their clients and business referral partners so they can profit more and prospect less. So it really paints a picture of what she does, and that's a big struggle for business owners, especially when we start. How do we communicate what we do? And who is our perfect client? You know, we want to just sell to everybody, don't we? Because we have this fabulous,
run the gamut. Yeah,
we have this fabulous product, and we do, and we. But
Yeah, if they leave a fog on a mirror, they're my client.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just sign here. Can your hand still work?
So what makes one person more successful at a networking event than another? You know, some can turn their prospects into clients very quickly, and it's most likely the way they communicate. They do the follow-up, they stay connected, and they make their contacts feel appreciated. Now, when you meet someone, they're either going to be a client, a resource, a center of influence. A center of influence is someone who has clients that could also be your clients. So for instance, a bookkeeper wants to hook up with a CPA. And so that's what you're looking for when you're networking. Not only how can you help that person, but what can they do for you? Because you don't really want to spend a lot of time with someone if they can't help you in your business in some way.
So it's like leveraging.
Yeah, leveraging. So you want to make people feel appreciated. You want to stay top of mind. So a lot of people, when they go from networking event to networking event, they gather a lot of business cards. They tie a nice pretty bow around them and never see them again. So the person or people that you've talked to, you didn't leave a lasting impression. You're not going to stay top of mind, and you know, someone else will get the business.
Yeah, it's really funny, all the networking functions that I go to and people passing back business cards and everything. I've never gotten a follow-up call or anything. I mean, I've followed up with online video or email a lot of times, but I've never gotten somebody saying, you know, I met you, so it was a pleasure.
I know, and it's gold.
It is.
It just takes a few minutes and it's gold. Last year I decided to use my own services. You know, I was following up for my clients. I wasn't doing it for myself. And I started calling all those people I hadn't seen in a long time. I was amazed because they really enjoyed the fact that I called them. It made them feel appreciated,
Right.
And it's such a good feeling. So yeah, a lot of people are missing out because they don't see the importance of the follow-up.
Well, once you built those relationships, right? I mean, if you haven't seen someone for a long time, people start wondering, I wonder what happened to that Larry Powers or that Joanne. I haven't seen them around, or I haven't heard from them for a while. I hope everything's okay, but they may not know how to contact you back, or, you know, life takes over kind of thing. So, I mean, if you follow up with the same people that you already had a relationship with, it's easier to bring that relationship back than to start on somebody fresh as well.
That's true, yeah.
I do try to follow up, but I'm not as good at it as I would wish I could be. My wife is great at the follow-up. I mean, she is on the computer. She is on the telephone. She meets her clients or acquaintances for a cup of coffee. I really respect how she does the follow-up. For some reason, I'm probably not the only one, it's probably most of us, to sit down and do a follow-up isn't as easy. My wife seems to
It's
have
hard for people. It's even hard for myself to do my own follow-up. And a lot of times it's better to use a third person to help you do the follow-up. And that person, of course, when they pick up the phone, they can't say, well, it was great meeting you, but they can say, well, you know, Joe really liked meeting you and would like to schedule a coffee and talk about how the two of you might be able to help each other's clients and collaborate. Was that something that you would like to do? And usually they say yes, and that's what, you know, some of my very successful clients do. But it's really important, and
So
you do
the
get
person
more
making those
business.
calls don't necessarily know everything because they're not answering any
They
questions
don't have
about
to
your
know
business.
anything about your
So
business.
that would be like I was trying to think of some things that some youth could do, teenagers or someone in college or something like that, is to help someone and maybe be that virtual person that just calls and maybe does some of those follow-ups. Because the kids, you know, I was talking to Larry earlier, these kids are not getting the benefit of a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. And nowadays, you don't have that job like I did. I have 30 years and I retired with the phone company, but I was laid off due to global outsourcing. So they're not getting the benefit of some of the entrepreneurial things in order to know that, hey, you know, you can get that job with the government or you can get that job with the state, but you can't rely on that. You have to have a plan B. You have to have your own thing going on, or else you possibly get left by the wayside. But I mean, something like that is a very good introduction maybe to business for them, is to get them on the phone, get over that shyness, you know, filling out a calendar, maybe making some notes or notations. And I'm always looking for something to help the young people so that they can
and learn
become
more about
entrepreneurial.
marketing in today's world. A lot of people have degrees in marketing, but it's out of touch with what's really going on.
It's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different ballgame now, so it's very valuable. You just want to make sure that whoever you're delegating to, you have a script and they know exactly what they're going to say. You don't want them to read it, you just want them to incorporate it into the conversation. And
with the advent of YouTube and Facebook and Google Plus and all those things, it's changed the way people market and communicate. If you look at just YouTube alone, Toyota did a great thing with their Sienna. They put little commercials on TV about mom relaxing in the Toyota Sienna. But if you go online on YouTube, they have a whole story. They have episodes of that whole family going together in their Sienna. And it was really well done. So large companies like Coca-Cola, Toyota, and all those things, they're not just relying on the TV and everything. They're going onto the internet where most of us can compete with the big boys. Okay, it's not that hard to get online and put together a campaign on Facebook or Google Plus or do a little 30-second commercial and put it on YouTube. It's not that hard anymore. So we can compete with them. And they're starting to swing over and spend their advertising dollars more online. Doritos, they do a lot of online stuff. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Toyota, all the big companies. General Electric, they're all putting stuff online now. So
absolutely.
Marketing has changed since the advent of that. So I'd say probably in the last 6 to 8 years, it has gradually started changing, and that was probably the paradigm shift of marketing. And the beauty of a paradigm shift is everybody starts from zero.
Exactly.
How little you are, you're all at the same spot. So now, using those tools, it's easy to follow up. You get a business card at a networking meeting. You go look them up on Facebook, say it was a pleasure meeting you, post it on their wall. You know, request them as a friend. So I mean, there's little things like that that you don't have to pick up the telephone and bug somebody. Let them do it at their leisure. So it's changed.
It has. So after you meet someone and you've been to your networking event, it's important. And the follow-up can be a phone call, an email. It could be, I love send out cards. You can put your picture on there. The important thing is to get it done right away, because that person, you run a chance of that person, forgetting who you are or confusing you with someone
How could you
else.
forget this face?
And as you're networking, you make sure you write everything on their business card. One funny thing happened to me where a send out cards person sent me 2 send out cards for 2 separate events saying how nice it was to meet me, and I wasn't at either event. So make sure you write everything down. I sent him an email saying, looks like you need a marketing assistant.
There you go.
I wasn't there. I was actually in Europe.
So you want to make sure you have everything written down. And the nice thing about writing things down, you can write things down about your conversation and so forth. And and that goes into your database, you can look at it years from now and realize where you met the person, what you talked about, and they're very impressed with that. And the older we get, we have to write more.
Oh, yes.
My wife
Most
has her
definitely.
book. If it doesn't get written down, it doesn't get done. That's what she says. I go, okay, I got to put that in my book. And
Right.
she carries her book around.
Yeah.
So,
Now, the most important thing to do before you start networking is to know who your perfect client is. Are they a soccer mom, a dentist, doctor, realtor? Who is your perfect client? What do they look like? Are they male, female? How old are they? How much money do they make? And then, in picking your networking events, should you go to an association? For instance, if you want to target financial planners, we live in a rich area here. We have associations for everything. We have networking groups all the time. And most of them don't cost a whole lot of money. The associations are a little bit more, but it is more targeted.
Yeah.
So you want to find out where your perfect client hangs out. Now, I know a person that keeps that list of his perfect client with him, and he feels it generates that person coming into his office, and his business is growing as a result of it. And I have to agree with that, because after I did mine, and I still go back and I tweak it every once in a while, I realized where my perfect client hangs out, and that's on the internet. And then when I figured that out, then I watched what they did on there, and it really helped my business. So that's really important before you start networking, that you really develop a good list of who your perfect client is. And then at the networking events, we all know it's not about us, right? We think it is. We want it to be when we first start out, but it's about the person you're talking to, and you want to make sure you're developing a relationship with them. And that's why it's important to write everything down, because when you talk with them the next time, you don't have to start that conversation all over again. You can just build on what you've already talked about. So it's a wonderful thing. So when you go back to your office after the networking event, you want to get the information into your database right away. If it's, not feasible, you can always have someone help you, a college student or a high school student or an assistant. And all you have to do is scan the cards, send them, email them to your assistant, or copy and fax them. And that information will go right into your database.
you can scan them right into your cell phone.
You can scan them. Actually, there are card scanners. I don't particularly like to use them sometimes because they do make mistakes, and you do have to proofread it. I figure if I have to go ahead and proofread, it's easier for me just to go ahead and enter it into my system. But whatever works for you, But you'll just have to proofread it. Yeah. And your database should be an online database. A couple that I like are act.com, salesforce.com. They have some new rates and some affordable rates, and it makes your follow-up a little bit more easier.
Constant Contact is another good one.
Put that in there.
Well, that is not a database. That's your e-newsletter.
Right.
You have a database for your e-newsletter, but I'm talking about a database, so it will have your follow-up in there. You have everybody's contact information. You can send them an email very easily from your contacts, and Outlook, that's what I use. You have to work it a little bit more after you talk to someone. When do you want to follow up with them again? Make sure you get it in your calendar. and that sort of thing. A lot of people use Gmail. It's free and very secure. And so the follow-up makes you feel appreciated and can turn your prospect into a client eventually. So as I mentioned before, it takes about 10 to 14 touches before someone uses your product or service. And how do you stay top of mind after you have followed up? Constant contact, e-newsletters, social media we talked about, and you can just email an item of interest. This is what getting to know about your prospect is all about. What information do they need to in order for them to grow their business? I had an attorney, and he would read the the reporter out in it's an email that you get, and it shows you who is looking for articles and what they're looking for articles in. So he would read that, and he would send the lead to me if someone was looking for an article that was related to my industry. And we became pretty good friends as a result of that. It didn't take much time. He reads it anyway, and he just sends it off to the people he feels are interested. And it's really just doing things like that. It's very small. Or you can get very elaborate. I happen to have a client who makes survival bags for CPAs, and at tax time, I put these bags together, chocolate, and each item means something, you know. The Hershey's Golden Nugget and success, or you have candy coins, or Tezo teas have calm, refresh, renew, and then
that's a good one for your real estate business, right?
And then she includes paperwork that helps them at tax time, and then I go and I deliver all these bags to her CPA acquaintances, and it could be as elaborate as that. It could be a lunch. But a lot of us just refer to social media and e-newsletters. E-newsletters are very, very powerful. There are a lot of companies that you can use. Some of them do not cost anything, like MailChimp or iContact. I personally use Constant Contact, and I've been using them for 5 years. I love using that company because they stay up with all the technology. If you want to do event marketing, if you want to do surveys, it doesn't take much effort because your contacts are already in there. And what I like is when you finish your e-newsletter, you can attach a button, or you can click on a share button, and it will put it out to your social media sites. And also your readers will have a button so that they can share it on their social media sites. So that makes it very nice. So having an autoresponders are a wonderful thing. Once the people are in your system, like for instance, if someone signs up for my e-newsletter, they automatically get a thank you and a link to my download, which I never send it. It's in my autoresponder, and it gets to them right away. Then 2 days later, they get an old e-newsletter, and then they're in my system. But you can make your autoresponders as elaborate as you want. It can go for the whole year, and you've just spent a weekend putting it together. And
a lot of those will allow you to put videos in there too. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 1,000 pictures.
Yeah, videos
so
are
I
great.
use a lot. YouTube being the #2 search engine, I use video a lot to communicate with people, and it does make you a little bit more transparent. They get to see your facial expressions,
yeah,
feeling, and it
your
is
hair.
really nice.
So it does bring
and
a little bit
people
more
will
personality.
most likely look at that rather than read a whole page.
Did watch a 1-minute video before they read a paragraph of text.
Yeah, I believe that. So when doing your e-newsletter, you want to keep it short, 250 words. That's it, and call it good. A lot of people, when they do their blogs, they use their e-newsletter to push people to their blogs. They'll just include 1 or 2 sentences from their blog to read more, go here, and that works very well too.
And I've noticed a lot, I mean, the newspapers are kind of phasing out a lot. A lot of newspapers are going under because of all the internet and social media. But now they are, in their articles, putting either a website or email or find me on Facebook or something like that, because there are still those readers that read the newspaper, and I do enjoy reading the newspaper, but you know, if they put, even with the TV news, I notice they tell you, oh, well, go to CBS News if you want to find out more about what we just talked about. So they're all generating to video, to internet sites, to all these other
you have
places.
to keep up with
Because
everything.
I mean, there's no way that I can sit here for an hour and tell you 3 hours worth of material. I'll just give you the little teaser or a short summary, the Cliff Notes version, and then tell you if you're still interested, you know, head over there and finish it up, kind of thing.
That's what you direct them, because if you post something on YouTube, Facebook, and everything else like that, you've got other distractions in there. And what you want to do is be able to direct people where you control the content.
Right,
That's
exactly.
So
right.
as you're controlling what they're listening to, watching, or reading, is where you want them to go, where you're the manufacturer.
And that's my video talk is just absolutely fabulous with that, because if you go to a YouTube, you're also seeing everybody else's videos on there.
So
and whereas you have this wonderful presentation, and you just look at the videos that you want people to see. So.
Anyway, ladies, I have to go. I do have an appointment.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you. It's so
nice
nice meeting you.
Keep it up and keep it going with them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I found this chapter really interesting in how to make your connections count. And it's how to make your connections count across the generations. So as you're communicating with people, you want to find out what what their favorite means of communication is. Some people like the phone. Of course, that's getting less and less. And some people like emails. A lot of people will send things in the mail. I, for one, do not want anything in the mail. Do not put anything in the mail for me. And so find out your perfect clients, how they communicate. And Bruce Bright had a wonderful scenario. I just want to read it to you if you don't mind.
No?
It's, consider this. A baby boomer CEO gives a Generation Y employee a handwritten note with instructions to handle a task. The employee sees this as an ancient way to communicate. When she completes the assignment, she instant messages IM's her boss to let her know that she's finished. The CEO does not IM and therefore is unaware the employee has completed the job. The employee would like recognition on a job well done and probably will not receive it in a timely fashion, if at all, because the CEO would give recognition if he only knew that the task was complete. However, neither will get what they want or need in this situation. And I thought it was great knowing that, because that's something I never really thought about, and how people like to communicate.
Well, I guess if somebody hands you a note, I came from corporate America, how do you want me to get back to you? You know, do you want me to email you? Should I just put a note on your door? Put a completion or the follow-up paperwork on your desk? You know, that was one of the things, because yes, we've gone through that before.
Yeah.
Where I put something on your desk. Well, Leslie, I've been on the road down in San Ramon for the last 4 days. How am I going to see it? So it's like, should I go ahead and email you or text you? I mean, I would never text my boss, but I mean, clients, you do. I've texted people before and they've texted me back. So the question is, how can I reach you in a timely manner so that we can both correspond if we have any questions or what have you?
That's right. Yeah, just let them know. You know, I'd love to follow up with you. What's the best means of communication to do that? And
because there's a lot of people that don't.
They will appreciate that too.
Well, if you think about it, I have some friends or some business partners. They don't check their email very often. So okay, they have an email, but they don't check it. So you need to know to call them. But if you're so used to staying off of the phone and you email somebody or you post, I don't go on Facebook but once a week, so I never got that message. So yeah, that is a good lesson learned. And find out, if you're working with someone, what is their best form of communication.
Right. Yeah. So another easy way besides your e-newsletters to stay top of mind is social media. And people think I'm just incredibly busy because I have this wonderful presence on social media. So it's important that in your social media that you make it known you have a business. If you're on there for business, then have your website on there, your company name. You should have a company page. For the longest time, I didn't have one because I felt I was marketing myself.
Mm-hmm.
However, well, Cindy, Chef Cindy, I went to one of her networking groups and she was giving everybody's business pages out. And I thought, well, I'm not going to miss out on an opportunity. So I quickly put one online for myself. Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised because number one, a lot of people like your page that are not even friends. Mm-hmm. People find you from different areas. Once you reach 25 people on your business page, you can have a vanity URL and people can search for you a lot easier. Mm-hmm. So it really is beneficial to have a business page.
Because you don't necessarily want to mix your family and friends with your business as well. Mm-hmm. So when you give out your business page to business networking things, then those are normally the people that will hit your fan page as opposed to hitting your personal page, and your family is like, what does that have to do with anything? We're trying to do a reunion. I don't want to come to a networking meeting. So it gets, mm-hmm. you get kind of a fine line. Mm-hmm. So I learned that also from Cindy about creating fan pages for your businesses, and you can try to corral things there, create events from there, keep driving people back there, and then you could provide the valued content there that these clients would want to know about. Your family is not going to care about a business book or some of the other things, but if you drive clients to your fan page, then they'd be more interested.
Mm-hmm. And you can also develop lists, mm-hmm. and just have your family and friends in a special list, and the other people will, you can do it according to area, and mm-hmm. you can email or send messages to those people within your list. On Facebook, they say up to 3 comments a day, like morning, afternoon, and evening. I happen to think it's not the quantity that matters. I think it's more the quality. Mm-hmm. If people know you're putting good content on your business page, they're going to seek you out. Mm-hmm. Again, this is not about selling. Your newsletter is not about selling. Your follow-up and networking is not about selling. And so for social media, it's 80% information and only 20% selling. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to people, I don't think I mentioned this, like in my phone conversation or my follow-up, I always, whatever you need to make your business move forward, like I like to build my database. Mm-hmm. So I always ask, oh, by the way. So at the very end of your conversation, you're not selling, but an oh, by the way clause is very important, because you can say, oh, by the way, I put out an e-newsletter that gives you tips and techniques for growing your business, and as a thank you, I give you a free report on how to market for less. Is that something you'd like to receive? And then they'll say yes. They didn't get the feeling that the conversation was about selling, it was about them and getting to know them. And so that's a really valuable thing to do. I think the realtors really came up with that in the very beginning. By the way, your referral is really important to me. Do you mm-hmm. know of someone looking for a new home?
I do remember that. And we used to get pumpkins at Halloween time with a realtor sticker.
Yeah.
We used to get pads.
I get something once a month from realtors.
But it's staying in contact. I'm not saying that you have to buy a house from me or you have to sell me your house or what have you. I just keep you in mind.
What it's telling you is I'm very serious about my business. I want to stay top of mind. I don't care if you open the envelope, open the email, or you just delete it. You still see that person's name and you know they're still doing their job. Mm-hmm. It was really interesting because in this economy, more people have been coming to me that have known me for 5 years or longer and are finally using me. It's because they see I'm serious about what I'm doing, and they know I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. So
the whole thing is you never know who's watching. Is the whole thing with the internet now? You don't know who's watching. They may watch look at your page occasionally, look at your feeds or whatever, but you
Mhm.
haven't had any business dealings with them.
Yeah.
But at some point, it'll probably click, or they'll say, I was just talking to so and so, and they can really use your business, but you don't know who's really watching you
Mhm.
and what you're doing and what the impact could be.
That's right. It's very amazing. I put, during the economy at its worst, a lot of people were wanting me to work for commission, and I was feeling really bad because these people really need help, but I wasn't going to work for commission because I have to pay my bills. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to put meetings together for business owners. If they don't have the money to use me, then I can give them the tools to use.
Mhm.
So I've had Karen Rice come out from Constant Contracts several times. I mean, I have 75 to 100 business owners there, and it's just important to know the current technology and how to use it for yourself, and stay on top of all of it. So very important. So, and when you do a page, how are you going to get likes? That's always a concern to people. And you can always go in and invite friends to like your page. I did that on a Friday night one night, and I got over 30 likes for my business page.
Oh, so you can get your vanity.
Well, no, that pushed me over 200.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Chef Cindy has the social media pay it forward page. You can always put it on there.
And I mean, it's easy enough to ask someone.
You ask someone, you put it on your
fan page.
Yeah, and put your buttons on your e-newsletters, on your email, on your brochures, on your website, and all of that. Katrina Sawa just introduced me to a wonderful process, and if you're interested in learning more about that, it's jumpstartyourmarketing.com. And she started it because she was reaching 5,000. And you cannot friend after 5,000 and you get cut off. But I started using it. And for those people who you really don't want to be friends with, you just send them a thank you. You have a script. And I have my assistant do it for me. I do it for us. But what I say is, thank you for wanting to connect with me. I'm finding I'm using my business page a lot more. Would you please, connect with me there? It's going to be a business community where people can share tips and techniques for growing their business. We want to hear from you. And build a little community with your business page. Make it about everybody, not just you. So
have you seen where you kind of do a part 1, part 2 when you reach those heights? Because I notice once you can't friend any more people, I mean, people can look at your Facebook page, but you can't add any more people to it. So does that turn into a second iteration, or would you please?
Well, at that point, they really send people to their business page and do it there. Yeah, it's kind of a lot more fun to send people to your business page too, because you have something in common and you can help people. I do tips on growing your business. I have like a realtor that I'm helping. We do real estate tips on her business page. I had someone in a health product, so it was Jane's health tips, and it's very helpful. People like it, they look for it after a while. So everybody's on timeline now, wondering what the hell wondering what Facebook is doing.
I find it kind of confusing because I have to go down and then go back up, or sometimes I go across and I'm like, I just posted something. Where is it? Where did it go?
I know. It's very confusing at first, and I thought, what are they doing? But now I really like it, because when someone wants to friend me, I not only see, because I'm in it for my business, I'm also getting to know people, but let's face it, if I was looking for personal friends, I wouldn't be friending people that I don't know. So I make sure everyone has a website. I make sure they have a business presence. But now I can go back in their timeline and I can see what kinds of things they've been posting. If they've been on Facebook since '04, I can go all the way back.
down, older.
So you want to make sure there's nothing on there. You don't want your mother to see, your colleague, or if you're looking for a job, because employers do look at your Facebook page.
I saw an article not too long ago that some employers, and I guess they started a lawsuit or something, they've been asking for passwords to go into people's Facebook.
You're right. Yeah, you don't hand it over, you don't get the job.
Well, I guess I wouldn't be, because I'd probably go ahead and record something and then turn them in, because that's just ridiculous. It's like asking, it's just inappropriate.
Yeah, I don't know if it's legal.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about following up and how to stay in touch the easy way. And so thank you for having me.
What were the two
here.
books that we had here?
Well, I'm a co-author in Incredible Business. My chapter was Building Your Virtual Team. And it's a conglomeration of 20 authors, and they each talk about what they know best. So in a book, when you read a book, you get aha moments. Maybe 4 or 5 throughout the book. This, you get an aha moment in every chapter.
With each author. I recognize a few of them.
Yeah,
I know Karen Clark.
She's local, and then Sherry Cockrell, and the publisher is Thrive Publishing. They're in Catarina Rondo in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And,
so this is pretty local.
But some of these authors are all over the country, Canada, anywhere, with social media.
Exactly.
Today,
it doesn't matter
everywhere.
where you are.
Yeah, but these people are all experts, and it's a nice digest to have. So if you want to learn more about social media, there's a chapter on that. And I'm growing now, I'll have to read about virtual teams. So it's not a front to cover thing, but more of a digest. And this is another great digest. Make your connections count. It goes into social media. My chapters on the follow-up and the power of it, and why to do it, and how to do it easy. So
yeah, we like easy.
Great. Yeah, we want
like
easy.
Yeah. We want easy.
we need to work on our business.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of people that are not either internet savvy or computer savvy, but they need to understand that these things are out there and how it can. I'm an IT person and I love it, but there's a lot of people. My mother just got started. In fact, what was so funny is she asked me to be her friend on Facebook. I'm like, who is that? Mother, you asked me to be your friend on Facebook? She goes, I went to a class at the senior center and I did Facebook and I did LinkedIn, and I'm like, really? So that was funny, but it just shows that you're not too old to learn. That you can always learn. And she wants to stay up with things, and she cracks at me and she says, well, at least now I can get pictures because you don't hand me any. I can look for them.
We don't anymore. I was with my daughters over the weekend, and the one puts the pictures on Facebook, and I'm going, oh, that's so wonderful.
And you can always save it to your computer, and
save
you can
it to
print
your
it out.
computer, but it will always be there.
Exactly.
I have an iPhone, and now they're going to the iCloud. So I was doing the download. My phone froze up, and I don't even know if I have all my apps still. So, you can lose things on your computer, on your iPhone, and this is a great way to keep it forever. So.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So, there's no reason why you can't start small and start listening and just, take some classes. And I mean, there's so much on YouTube. My son was looking to fix something the other day. Where did he go? He went to YouTube, and we go to eHow, and we go to Ask. But I mean, even if you have a basic computer and you can type in some keywords,
we are brilliant today.
I fixed my washing machine that way.
I
went to eHow and I said, the water is not coming out, and this, that, and the other, and I put in my model and everything. And my son and I fixed my washer. What it is you get like a filter, and it gets clogged with lint and stuff like that. So we put a 2x4 under it, lifted it up, took off the panel just like they said, unscrewed the thing, cleaned it out. We found money and all kinds of stuff up in there. I was surprised.
Oh my God.
But I mean, we put it back together, and then it tells you hit this, and this, because I have a front loader, and it goes through its little check. Bam, we were done. I'm like, woo! I think my son. I think we should go to lunch because we saved about $75 or $100 for them just coming out.
Yeah.
That doesn't include what they would try to tack on.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's out there,
Yeah.
and you got to learn how to use it. With anything else, it's part of growing your business.
Right, and as you say, baby steps. I do another speech on how to market for less. I mean, just lists and lists of marketing that you can do. And I'm going, don't get overwhelmed. Just take one at a time. And you know, a marketing person told me a long time ago that I'm going to have to do e-newsletters, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to talk about? I have no idea. And I'm the kind of person is I don't do anything right away. I have to think about it until I've thought enough. I have to do it. And what do you know? I'm a co-author in 2 books now, and I just loved it.
Well, the whole thing is that just because you're putting information or tips out there does not mean it has to be something brilliant that you came up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, there's nothing original about it. Like I said in the beginning, I've watched the best of the best, and
it's just putting it in that package and making it
in your own words.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can communicate it a little bit better, or making it easy for people. So. Great.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was
And
really fun.
yes, this was fun. So, GNA, I hope you guys enjoyed that, our little conversation. Larry had to leave early, but I'll go ahead and I'll give you a link to this, and we can upload it, download it, send it to you, put it on YouTube. You can cut it up, do whatever. I mean, if you need any help with that, I can help you.
Okay, thank you. Good to know.
So, our whole point with GNA is how can we help you move your business forward, and I think that's what we did today. Was putting that information out there.
And if anybody has questions, feel free to send me an email at info@thepersonalassistant.com. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.